My name is Tony Klein, and I have been a representative from East Montpelier and Middlesex. Just got reelected for my 6th term, and I have spent 8 out of the last 10 years serving on the House Natural Resources and Energy Committee. And the last 4 years I have chaired that committee. We've done very well in the state of Vermont in the last decade or so in creating what most would consider cutting-edge policy on energy and efficiency. And we have created in the state of Vermont over the last few decades a regulatory process that helps implement the policy that I would argue is the most arduous in the nation. And now, finally, the fruits of all of our efforts of creating the policies and getting things off the ground, we're in implementation phase. And it's not by chance or by luck as you drive around the state of Vermont that it's very commonplace now to see solar installations on houses, on businesses, on box stores, out in fields. It's not uncommon to see small wind turbines at your neighbor's house, or we finally got a few of the larger wind projects that built in the state. That's a direct result of all the hard work of creating the policy in the state. And the policy in the state and the regulatory process in the state has been built because of organizations and members of those organizations like you folks in VNRC. You have been extremely important in building what Vermont is today and what it will be in the future. I think that now, because we're in the implementation phase of building out our energy future, that when the rubber hits the road, and everything is not perfect. People see things, people hear things, people feel things that they may be troubled or concerned by. What our emphasis is going to be this legislative session is making sure that we don't turn back the hands on the clock, that we continue to move forward. And any problems that we may encounter in the implementation phase needs to have folks come together to create the solutions to these problems. We don't need to stop the clock. We don't need to go backwards. We don't want to undo everything that we have done. And so one of the key pieces of legislation that the House Natural Resources and Energy Committee will be looking at, we'll be taking a piece of legislation that says, you know, it may be time that the state of Vermont take a good hard look at what it wants to look like in the next 50 years. And that would include our ridgelines, and that would include our forest lands, and that would include our agricultural lands, and that would include our river valley lands. But it shouldn't be just a conversation about energy generation development. It should be about all development. And so in that light, we are going to be debating and discussing a statewide land use, a mandatory statewide land use planning bill. We don't have we don't have a coordinated, cohesive, even voluntary planning process in this state. We've tried. It has not worked. It's scattered planning all over the place. As a result of that, fortunately or unfortunately, our permit process, both the 250 permit process and the Section 248 of Title 30 utility permit process, have become our de facto planning vehicles in the state. That's not a particularly good situation, because permit processes are not planning processes. When a developer goes into any type of permit process, it's expected that they get their permit. As long as they meet as long as they meet the conditions that are set by the regulators, the permit will be issued. We think it's time that we involve the state in the discussion of how can we plan better, how can everybody's voice be heard, and how can we make sure that we keep moving ahead with our energy policy, but keeping those things that are hard to articulate, but we all know that these are the conditions that we all feel that make Vermont what is Vermont. So that's a major piece of legislation that we're going to be working on. We're also going to be working on a thermal efficiency bill. And what we've learned over the years is that we've got 80 to 100,000 structures in the state of Vermont that don't meet any energy efficiency standards. We're basically heating the outside of these buildings. We're throwing money out the window. We've also learned that investing in thermal efficiency is the best bang for the Vermonter's buck that you can get. It's a 6-to-1 return. And nowhere in the investment environment today do you get a 6-to-1 return. So we're going to be looking at what we think are the best programs that reach the most Vermonters to invest in, and we're also going to be looking at absolutely raising the revenue that's going to be needed to sustain these programs. These are two big projects that we're going to be looking at. They're very important to the future of Vermont, and we can't do it by ourselves. We need your help, and we need you to be involved. We need you to your voice to be public and loud. We need you to contact us, the legislators in the state. We need you to write letters to the editor. We need you to come out and force. You've done that in the past. We've depended on you very, very heavily for the successes that we've all been able to accomplish together in the past. And that's what I look forward to doing in the future. And I very much look forward to working with you. Our contacts are easy. You can always email us at our legislative email addresses. You can call the State House, and best of all, you can come visit us at the State House. So I hope to hear from you soon.